Jon Cousins, and I have the honour of being the Mayor of Glastonbury, and I'm a Town Councillor in Glastonbury Town, and I am a Mendip District Councillor too. And the only time I shall mention this, I am also a member of the Green Party. I became a Town Councillor in 2011. It was May 2011, and I tried to become a Town Councillor 4 years before in 2007 and failed miserably. And but between those years, I must have done something useful in the town because people voted for me and I became elected. And it was quite an extraordinary thing because up until that point, many of the people on the town council really didn't really look like me. They looked like people that I used to think were a bit fuddy-duddy when I was a kid, you know, with wearing ties and suits and things and going to meetings on a Tuesday night with a briefcase and all that sort of stuff. And they were always going on about the things that they thought were very wrong with Glastonbury. And most of the time when I heard them say these things, I used to go to council meetings. I used to, I thought, well, these are the things I really like about Glastonbury and they don't like about them. And so I thought, well, is it possible, ladies and gentlemen, that some members of Glastonbury's community were not represented by these people? And to my surprise, that seemed to be the case. And since becoming a councillor in 2011, and so that's like centuries. I think the Beatles were together shorter period than I've been on the council. Since becoming that councillor, there's a phenomenal things have happened. People who are not men seem to be, there are more of them on the council, which I think is quite a good thing. And also people who are not necessarily old white men like me. I am afraid I am one of those, balding old white men indeed. And there certainly were an awful lot of those on the council before I joined it. But thankfully, we're slightly more of a minority on the council now. And so that kind of reflects a kind of diversity. I used to do a lot of community-based work in Glastonbury. Many people watching this might remember Avalon Fair Shares, of course, the amazing community time bank. And I was involved in the Transition Town Initiative and many other things. I got involved with a thing called the Frost Fair in its early days. And these sorts of things were wonderful things. I thought Glastonbury was an amazing place with all this fantastic community stuff going on. And I used to go as a member of the community groups, as it were, community organisations, to town council meetings to raise things with councillors and to listen to what they had to say about them. And to be honest with you, to be brutally honest, and I'm sure there are many people who might feel this about me personally anyway now, I said to myself, how on earth can we let these people run this town? So that's why I decided to do something about it, because what I realised was that no one else was going to do anything about it. If I wasn't going to do anything about it, who else could do anything about it? Why could I expect anyone else to do anything about it? So that's why I started to try and get on the council, because I felt that the people who were there were not actually representing the whole community, and were not actually the type of people that I felt should run such an amazing place. Now, I say that, and I'm quite aware that not everyone is my fan, right? So a lot of people feel that about me, and that's only right. My advice to you is do what I did. Stand for election. Get on the council. Let's make it better. Many people think that the town council is the council, and we are the they that everyone talks about. They should do this and they should do that. And of course, you get things from the council. and you think, why has the council done this? I know, I shall ring up Jon Cousins and ask him. Hello, Jon Cousins, why have you done this? Well, actually, it wasn't Glastonbury Town Council who did this. It was Mendip District Council. It was Somerset County Council. It was the Highways Authority. It was the government. It was Public Health England. Let's not mention a one-way system. So the town council itself has in law, one power and duty, the power and duty to run allotments. Now there's an interesting issue. We might talk about allotments again at some point, and I'm sure that allotments will come up, because allotments and land and housing have all been talked about in Glastonbury. But that is the one duty of the town council in law, the duty to have allotments, enshrined many, many years ago. But we have some powers, which is not quite the same as duties, to do other things. Thanks to Eric Pickles, we now have a power as a council to do anything in law that a human being can do. So we do have quite a lot of power, because people have a lot of power. And we have tried to think about how that might best serve the community as a council. And so we've certainly tried to improve the cultural calendar of the town. The Frost Fair, I'm delighted to say, after being involved in it before I became a councillor, and now as a councillor, the Frost Fair is one of the most amazing things that's come out of these last 9 years that I've been involved, or longer. There's a Beltane or May Day event that seems to attract thousands and thousands of people to the town. Brilliant. That's absolutely a superb sort of thing. And then there are other events. I mean, the carnival, of course, is such a huge thing and an amazing thing, and so sad that we can't have it this year. Bringing all these people into town, trying to promote the town, is another thing that I've been really pushing for. A promotion of the town where all of the stakeholders who are involved in that kind of tourism, for want of a better word, pilgrimage, for want of a better word, visitors, trying to have a joined up approach to attracting people to the town, because that's the lifeblood of Glastonbury. We're no longer a place that manufactures on a large scale like Moorlands, Drapers, etc. We're no longer a religious centre, as we were, of course, many, many hundreds of years ago. What we are is a centre, a cultural centre, a tourist centre, a visitor centre with a worldwide provenance. And so as a town council, we have been very conscious and mindful that actually we ought to have a joined up approach to promoting the place. And so, for instance, when I was lucky to have been mayor before, this is my second time in the role of mayor, I got on the blower to Michael Levis, because there's this festival that goes on, that's viewed on television by millions and millions of people around the world. There's never ever had a promotion of the town in it. And I got on the blower to Michael and said, could we, at primetime telly on the BBC, have a little thing about the town, please? And he said, well, I'll have a word with someone. He had a word with someone, and the next thing we knew, there was a place for Glastonbury just before Suede went on stage on the BBC, a 10-minute advert for the town, which was brilliant. I mean, we couldn't pay for that sort of advertising, and it was called The Magic of Glastonbury. And I very fortunately was able to take part in that, and others as well. And that was seen by hundreds of thousands of people again and again. I've got the stats somewhere. But what amazed me was I was the first councillor to ever kind of go, oh, we could be on the telly with the festival. And it's that sort of approach, really, to kind of to improve, because bringing those people to the town when we don't have a pandemic, of course, is what will make the town flourish. And so that is a thing I'm really keen on Glastonbury flourishing. And my motivation for that is because, sadly, there are parts of the town that are really suffer from multiple deprivation. And that's bad news for the people who are in this situation, and bad news for us as a council, and bad news for us as a community. We've got one area in our town that is in the top 10% of deprivation in the country, which I find absolutely outrageous. Many people go on Facebook and they're outraged by many things I can see about the town, but this is one thing no one ever talks about. I have stood in the council chamber and talked about this. We need to make sure that we as a town with such amazing provenance, with amazing things like the festival, like the history of the industrial area, like our history as a religious and spiritual centre, the Abbey, then you add into that mix, you know, King Arthur, Joseph Arimathea, other places would give their eye teeth to have this sort of provenance. And we as a town really haven't capitalized on it in a way that brings wealth and success for everyone here. I'm sure there are a few people that really have had wealth and success from the provenance of the town, but that should be something that's shared by all of us. And that shouldn't, you know, we shouldn't have deprivation in a place with such amazing things going for it. So I've been really, you know, working with the town council and others, with lots of stakeholders, loads of different organizations, businesses, etc. I've been trying to promote that for the last, well, 8 or 9 years as well. So these are things that motivate me as a councillor. So the question is, if somebody comes to me with a problem or an issue, how do we as a town council, how do I as a councillor help resolve it? Well, some of these problems that people come to town council about are actually something that belongs to one of the other councils. And we're back to that thing about the they and the council and who are the council. So for instance, people moaning about parking, people moaning about people sleeping in trucks on the side of the road, people talking about the mess, people talking about the one-way system, the people talking about some people say we want to have the high street pedestrianised, other people say there is no way we should have the high street pedestrianised. They all come, of course, to us as town councillors, and I suppose that's quite right. It's good that they do come. But all of the things I've just mentioned are completely outside of the scope of what a town council can do. We could, of course, decide through Eric Pickle's wonderful Localism Act, 2011, that we will take on this stuff. But there's already an authority to do that, be it the district council, the county council, a highways authority, public health. I've done all that before. So we could take that on, but if we do, it's got to be paid for. And sadly, the people who are going to have to pay for it are the people who live in the town. It's called the precept. And so the town council raises money through the council tax, a special part of it called the precept, so we can do the things that we're being asked to do. And we tend to only do the things now as a council that we're asked to do. And these things cost money. We do try as a town council to raise money in different ways. We hire out the town hall, we have weddings there, we have events, you may have been to some. We also have the car parking, so we raise money there. And we do things like the Frost Fair. And all that income doesn't come to me as a councillor. In fact, councillors, we're not paid. Everybody, I've met loads of people who go on to me about how much I'm getting paid as a councillor and why I'm not doing this. I actually have another job which pays the rent, full-time job. And anybody watching this who has a full-time job, if you're lucky enough, to have a full-time job, you'll know how much hours that takes. And then we do the town council on top. Well, you wanted to get elected, John. Well, I did. So I'm not complaining about it. What I'm saying is we're volunteers. We don't get paid. You're not volunteers, you're elected members. Okay, we are elected members, but we don't get paid for what we do. So it's a voluntary capacity. That's why sometimes councillors take a little bit of time before they get back to you, because they might have some other stuff to do with life, you know, that they're dealing with. But I hope that the town councillors do get back to you. If any town councillors don't get back to you, please write to me and let me know. I'm the mayor. I can, you know, stick the proverbial up the what's it. But anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. So you come to us with a problem. If it isn't something that we can do, I will signpost you to the appropriate person in the appropriate authority. And then I will use my special power as a town councillor to ring them up and say, you need to sort this out for Fred or whoever. If it's something the town council can do, then I will certainly, as a town councillor, get it put onto the agenda of the appropriate council committee where it can be discussed and the council may resolve to do something. If it's something that we are already doing, such as getting, you know, the streets cleaned or whatever it is, you know, the lighting perhaps for this or that or the other, whatever it is, that goes on the work schedule of the people who are paid in the council, which is the officers, and we have some amazing, brilliant officers who go out and do stuff. At the moment, they've just been clearing out all the vegetation from the old tennis courts on Benedict Street. I'm so pleased about that. So I guess what I'm saying is that that's what I try and do as a town councillor, to try and get things done in the town when people complain. Sometimes there isn't a magic filing cabinet or money tree that we can get money to drop off from. So then we have to decide as a council if we are going to do something. If there's enough public support for doing something, we put it into action, but we have to go to the community and say, will you pay for this? And when I was mayor last time, I did make sure that the council went to the community when we were thinking of putting the precept up. The question is, if after listening to me, you are either A, inspired to become a town councillor, or B, think, what the hell is that idiot doing on the town council? I could do better. And I'm happy whichever one it is. The way forward is, first of all, to think about standing for election. Now, elections happen every 4 years, and anyone who lives in the town or owns property in the town or works in the town or can persuade somebody that any of the above is true, you can stand for election in the parish council. And I'm not saying you should lie to stand for parish election, but sometimes when you look at the list of people who are standing, you think, how on earth are they? Anyway, we won't go into that. You as a member of the community who lives here, works here, owns property here, you can stand for election. You have to stand for election in one of the wards, and there are 4 wards in Glastonbury. They are St. John's, which is obviously the best ward. Why do I say that? Then there is St. Edmund's, another best ward, and St. Mary's, which is probably the best ward, and then St. Benedict's, again, the best ward in the town. So you can stand for one of the 4 wards, and there are 4 council seats in each of the wards, which makes 16 councillors. So you can stand, and you've got 4 seats that can be got. So you've got a good chance of getting in if other people aren't standing. Glastonbury, of course, is a kind of place where lots of people want to stand for election, and quite right too. You don't have to be a member of a political party. It does not cost you any money. If a political party tells you that it costs money to stand for election, they're only trying to get you to join them. You can say, I've got something in my pocket for you, right? You don't have to join a political party to stand for election. What you do need to do is to contact Mendip District Council, the elections people at Mendip, and say, I'm thinking of standing for election. Can you send me all of the information? And I will probably do that about a month or two before the election. And the election officer is on Mendip District Council's website. I know I've tried to look for things on there too, but if you Google and you put inverted commas around elections officer, it should come up. Anyway, if you want to stand and you can't find for any reason, i.e. that Mendip District Council's website is completely rubbish or whatever reason it could be, if you do want to stand and you can't find how to, you can write to me. I don't care whether you're a Tory, a Labour, or whatever it is you are. If you want, write to me and you want to stand as independent, whatever, I'll help you, because I think it's vitally important that other people stand. Because let's face it, you don't want me running the town. And then you fill out a form, you have to get 10 people, I think, or is it 2? I'm getting it mixed up. I should have done my homework. But anyway, you've got to get some people who are registered electors to sign your form. So you get the people, they have to be on the electoral register. You don't need to be on the electoral register to stand, but they need to be on the electoral register to nominate you to stand for election.